This is the best way to get those new high-level artifacts. Let's talk about it. What's good, YouTube? NoGoodEman coming to you today with an updated artifact guide video. So guys, in this video, I want to show you guys the best ways to get those new level 100 artifacts, get those high-level artifacts and everything in between. But before we talk a single thing, make sure you guys leave a like on the video. It really helps the channel out. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on post notifications so you don't miss a live or an upload. And then of course, support your boy on that Netmarble website to eat on those free codes. But guys, let's get into this video because there's a lot to talk about, and I mean a lot to talk about. First and foremost, we have six new artifacts added into the game. We've got 3 new 8-piece sets. We've got 1 new left side body armor set, and then we have 2 right side accessory sets. So starting off, let's go ahead and just talk about each and every one of these one by one. Starting off with the chaotic wish effect. This one at the 2-set effect, when the user uses their ultimate, it's going to grant the wish effect to both the user and their team members. What this will do will increase the attack by 8% for 10 seconds. Honestly, a very good one with the cooldown of 25 seconds. A very good 2-set effect, I might add. So you might see a lot of people using 3-piece sets and throwing in chaotic wish in some places, but let's go ahead and talk about the 4-set effect. Wish becomes enhanced wish. What this will do, this will now trigger on a support skill or an ultimate skill. So think about throwing on a 4-piece wish on your support units, because Sun Jinu will now get a attack and defense increase by 10%, and then he's also going to get his HP restored every 1 second. So it's looking like it's going to be something similar to a support set, but at the 8-set effect, the skill's MP consumption rate increases by 20%, but the cooldown of the user's basic skill decreases by 10%. So you will get an increased MP use rate, but your basic skills will be reduced. I will say that this kind of reminds me of a Hansi Mei, or that kind of makes me think that Hansi Mei might be one of the best characters to start with this, because as you guys know, that basic skill 2 is pretty long on the cooldown, so using this might help that out. Enhanced wish now becomes chaotic wish, and what this will do when you guys use your ultimate, support skill, or core attack, you're increasing your attack, defense, and HP by 15%. This is all around. So at the 8-set effect, it kind of becomes more all around, but restoring HP of the user's HP every 1 second for a cooldown of 25 seconds, but that's also a 20-second duration. So all in all, chaotic wish is not a bad set. I do want to note again, 2-set and 4-set is probably what a lot of players will be using. I don't really see the 8-set effect being all too useful. Now, of course, 15% is a lot, but 8-set effect, I will see that on probably like a Hansi Mei, or that's just the initial characters I think of. Now, we've talked about chaotic wish, but guys, this one is even crazier. Talking about chaotic desire, this is dropping from Deimos, the Judge of Death. At the 2-set effect, when an attack deals break damage, it triggers the desire effect. What this will do will increase the user's elemental damage by 0.5, stacking up to 20 times, so it will stack up to 10% at max with a cooldown of 1.5 seconds, and this is a permanent duration. So I actually very much like this because this is over permanent duration. At the 4-set effect, whenever desire has stacked 20 times, it becomes enhanced desire. What this will do now, it will increase the damage of the user's skill with the break by 30%, increasing the user's and the team members' elemental damage by 20% over a permanent duration. This is an insane effect that you definitely want to take use of. I will say at the 4-set effect, it is pretty much insane, and at the 8-set effect, it gets even crazier. So it's attacking enemies that are an elemental weakness. The user's break effectiveness will increase by 30%. So whenever you attack enemies with a break skill, your break effectiveness will now increase. The enhanced desire becomes chaotic desire now, and it will increase the user's the skill that you guys use with break. That will be increased by 50%. Imagine that, right? The user and the team members' elemental damage will now increase by 40%. So on top of that 50% for your breaker units, you'll get a 40% for the entire team. Again, that's permanent duration, guys. So all in all, chaotic desire is like a top 3 set in the game. They just dropped this and it's already insane, and I don't even have it at the 8-set effect, but I can tell you guys, this will be one of the sets you want to grind for it. 1000%, this is going to be one of the main sets. This is what a lot of players are going to be going for just straight up out the gate. And then we can't forget about the last one, Chaotic Infamy at the 2-set effect. Using this skill grants the Infamy effect, excludes support skills, but this will increase your basic skill damage by 1.5, stacking up to 20 times, and increase the user's damage taken by 1%. So this kind of reminds me of like a burning curse in a sense, where it's giving you a nice boost to something, but it's also increasing your risk or increasing the damage you'll get. So I kind of see that at the 2-set effect, but let's talk about the 4-set effect. Enhances it to Enhanced Infamy. Now the basic skill will stack up to 20 times on a 2.5% basis, and now your damage taken will be 1% up to 20 times. Again, we're looking at permanent duration, and when the user uses their basic skill, they recover 5% of their MP. This is on a cooldown of every 30 seconds, but again, this is now getting better. This kind of reminds me, the best characters I can kind of think of off rip for this is like an Amamiya Mirai for a Tawatakane, and then at the 4-set effect, oh my gosh. In team fight mode, the user's damage dealt increases by 40%. So if there's any characters you guys can think of that succeed in high team fight modes, that's going to be your power destruction or your guild boss, their damage dealt at the 8-set effect with Chaotic Infamy will increase by 40%. So automatically, Tawatakane, let's say Chaheyens, let's say Amamiya Mirais, they're going to eat if you guys have this on the 8-set effect. Now, whether you need this on the 8-set effect, that's something to be talked about, but let's go ahead and read it because it does get crazier. So Chaotic Infamy, what this will now do will increase the user's basic skill and ultimate skill by 100% over a permanent duration, and it will remove the damage taken increase effect on the user, and the user gains 5% of their MP when using their basic skill. Now, it sounds more worth it, right? So imagine this for Tawatakane, imagine this for Amamiya Mirai. Both of these units will definitely see an increased use of damage if they do have it on the 8-set effect. And of course, they can still rock the 4-set effect with, let's say, 4-piece curse, whatever the case may be. But that is the start. Those are the 3 8-set effects currently within Soul Leveling Arise. Now I do want to talk about the first body armor piece on the left side. It's going to be the Iron Will. Now with the Iron Will at the 2-set effect, is very simple. It's just going to increase the user's defense by 8%, but it gets interesting because at the 4-set effect, when the user uses their ultimate skill, it increases their defense by 5%, stacking up to 5 times. So at max stacks, you're looking at a 25% permanent defense increase whenever whatever unit you have is on the field. This is going to be really good for your defensive scaling units like your Thomas Andre, like your Charlotte, Isla Wright even. But regardless, guys, I do want to note this next part increases ultimate skill damage by 50% one time only with a cooldown of 20 seconds. Now, of course, I think that this is worded very interestingly. I don't think that this is only like one time in a battle, but one time during this cooldown duration, I guess you can kind of think of it. But regardless, I know that Thomas Andre, he has to use his ult to really get stronger, put on his armor, and then the damage taken afterwards. I think that's when you guys have this effect. So once he pops his ult at least one time, then he has the ability to increase his next ultimate skill damage by 50%, one time only, cooldown of 20 seconds. I believe that's how it works. I could be wrong. The testing will showcase that eventually within the next coming weeks, but regardless, a very good set for Thomas Andre and a lot of defensive scaling units now and defensive scaling units to come. Now, let's go over to the right side. We've got 2 more artifacts to talk about. The Destructive Instinct Necklace, or the Destructive Instinct sets. This one is very simple. The wording here is not too complicated, but at the 2-set effect, the damage of the user's skills with the break effect increases by 30%, and at the 4-set effect, the skill damage increases to 60. So at the 4-set, you're looking at a 60% break effect damage when you guys have break skills on your breaker unit. So this is essentially just boosting all breaker units, right? Any breaker unit that you guys have, they now have the ability to get very stronger, right? So unused break characters, Sawjiru, Lim Tae, you guys have the ability to put them basically back in your lineups because Destructive Instinct is giving you the ability to essentially take them from a breaker to a breaker/DPS. Now, of course, whether their skills actually hit that hard will depend, but I know this is especially good for the newer units. We're talking about Goto Ryuji, we're talking about Sauron. They are doing insane things right now. And then the final set to talk about, our last and 6th newest set, is going to be the Shining Star set. Now with this one, when the user or a team member tags in, it increases their attack by 12%, and that one's pretty interesting. So anytime you get on the field, anytime you switch to a new team member, you're getting that attack boost, right? So either this can't be used on the Sunji Nu mode because Sunji Nu never tags in, so this is hunter specific, I would like to say. But at the 4-set effect, it increases the attack instance effect to 28% and a duration of 15 seconds. So this is going to be very cool, very interesting. I do want to say this is going to be especially good for Tawatakane that can get a nice just attack boost out of nowhere essentially. But of course you might want to run 4-piece beats for longer content, but I do want to say Shining Star will now be the replacement for Obsidian in a sense, because we do know Tawatakane did struggle with MP. So now you guys can throw on Shining Star on Tawatakane and you would see an increased amount of use and utility with her. Now that we talked about all of that, how do I even get these artifacts, guys? You're gonna get them from high tiers of Encore and Instance Dungeons. So as you can see, tier 21 and onward, that's when you will start getting these newer artifact pieces. I will say that there are still heroic variants, so that's level 95. And then for the other older artifacts, that's going to be your Burning Greed, Burning Curse, Burning Blessing. That's also level 95. And then even the other old artifacts, we're talking about, let's say, one-hit kill, we're talking about Cleric, we're talking about Guardian. These are all level 95. So that's it at the heroic variant. And then if we go to tier 22, that is when you guys will start seeing some legendaries. But keep in mind, the higher tiers you go, that's when you guys will start seeing more and more legendaries. So get as high as you can. If you guys can go to tier 30, you guys will see increased benefits, because this is when you will start getting more legendaries than heroics. And I believe tier 20 or 31 is when you guys will get only legendary. So if you guys can grind all the way up to tier 31, we're not even talking about Proof of Strong because that's going to be its own monster. But if you have the ability to grind all the way to tier 31, you guys will reap those benefits pretty much immediately. So grind it out. I know a lot of accounts are at least at 1 million powers. So a lot of players are going to be grinding for these new artifacts out the gate. And I'm very excited to see the various combos you guys do have. Now, the next thing to talk about is older artifacts. So are my older artifacts cooked? Well, yes and no in a sense. Why? Because guys, when it comes to just getting these new artifacts, let's say to the next level, we're gonna need something called these Reforged Fragments. Now, Artifact Reforged Stone, there's a few ways to get them. You can get them either through your instance, either through your encores. Regardless of how you get them, I will say the gap between free to play, pay to win might be widening a bit, because there's a lot of these in the shop. There's a lot, and Netmarble's trying to market it. They're trying to sell it to their players. I kind of figured this when they didn't show how to obtain the artifact forging materials in the Sharp stream, that there was kind of a sketchy way to get these behind the scenes, but it's kind of proving true. But let's go ahead and just show you guys. If we take a good piece, for instance, let's see a piece that we definitely would want to max out or take to that level 100 spot. Let's use this one. So Boots of Burning Curse with an attack +3. We definitely want to take this to the next level. Once we have enough of those materials, we're going to spend a bunch of gold, mind you. But afterwards of doing that, we can see increased uses, and essentially this just ascends to the next level. So a bunch of boost all around the field, and there's nothing else. It's not RNG based. Thankfully, it's not RNG based, but from there, now we can go ahead, keep enchanting. The enchantment levels also do not change. I think we're just gonna have to wait on new enchantment books, which will definitely get new enchantment books because these look like heroic variants. So keep an eye on that. Keep grinding your simulation gate so you don't slack behind in that regard. And now we finally have our first artifact reforged, and so artifact reforging complete. And when you guys do have a max level artifact, it will say reforging unavailable. So that's kind of how you know which artifacts I have, which artifacts I don't have, which artifacts are going to be strong. And if you guys are wondering, you guys won't need to take your artifacts to the next level right now, but I will say you need to be grinding for that. So you need to either be getting your older artifacts stronger, or you need to be getting new stronger artifacts. Actually, you need to be doing both, because the next update, we've already confirmed it, we're getting the Monarch of Transfiguration. So the Yogamont, he's going to be coming through, and with all the growth increases, with the armory increases, with every increase, guys, we can predict that the Yogamon's going to be a very tough boss. So lock it in, guys, when it comes to getting those Encore and Instance dungeons done. Do remember you can buy more keys every day if you need to. The better places to get that will be in that exchange shop though, so keep an eye on your exchange shop, more so the Mana Crystal Exchange. This is one of the best places to get them, so don't forget about that. Dungeon Mission Unity keys, you can buy about 4 every day. And for you guys that have a lot of Proof of Strong tokens, I will say that you actually have the ability to use these advanced artifact selection chests, and this actually allows you to choose essentially any one of the newer artifacts. Now I will say it does use the token of exceptional proven strength, so if you don't have a lot of these, you might not be able to get that straight out the gate. You will have to grind Proof of Strong, and with Proof of Strong now getting revamped, you might have a harder time grinding that Proof of Strong. So regardless, guys, make sure you get that. Make sure you grab these level 100 artifact reforged stones, and you guys will be good to go there. But guys, what do you guys think of the new artifacts in the game? What's your favorite artifact to use? Go ahead and leave your thoughts, theories, and comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications, and with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Y'all take care. Peace.